Hello and welcome to the Sanctuary, a safe space to speak from the heart. I'm your host, Idril, and my guest today is super talented, the artist Maje, someone I've been dying to talk to. Thanks for coming to the Sanctuary today.
I appreciate it, bro.
Yo, how are you feeling?
Um, Honestly, it's been up and down. It comes in waves, really. Like creativity is what, like my creativity is what makes me breathe. So it's been a really with the situation in the world, it's been like really up and down, right?
Mm.
But yeah, we still grinding.
So, like, I guess, well, you mentioned it. We're now kind of in a new lockdown, but I'm
Uh
gonna
huh.
reverse it first a little bit to the very first lockdown. Were there things you had planned before that lockdown that you put stop on?
Yes. Man, I was supposed to put out a project last year, and I just the momentum wasn't there, so I had to postpone it. But um, my plan's really been the same. So I just been building up content. If anything, it's only improved. Like I've had time to like sharpen things before I present them to the world. But the plan has been the same to come out come out swinging, lots of content, lots of videos, collaborations. I'm kind of in a space now that I wasn't in, you know, definitely wasn't in when I put out my last project, which was in 2017. So definitely, I miss being out there. I just want to get in the game, right?
Well, so let's even go way back, right? At what point did you know I want to do this music thing?
Oh man. Basically, the first time I started watching BET, honestly, like I would see Ludacris and like Snoop and 50 Cent. I would see these guys and I'm just like, man, their life looks so amazing. They got it all. These are the coolest people on the planet. And I was like, I want to be one of the coolest people on the planet. So from that point, I was writing every day.
And then, like, were you doing any type of writing before this happened?
I always tell people like my mama had me reading and writing like at a young age. So like I knew I was better than my peers when it came to reading and writing, and that was any kind of writing. So I knew I wasn't the best basketball player amongst my peers, but I wanted that too. But I was like, that doesn't seem as feasible as being, the best writer, best rapper amongst my peers. So I always knew that I had that edge as far as like being a writer. So that comes with anything. Like I've always liked writing essays in school, short stories, poems, anything in school. I was always writing.
So, like, you mentioned poems. Did you find like being able to write poems? I guess you just translate that into your raps.
In a way, I when you're actually in music, you see differences between what poetry is and what rap is as far as like cadences. And I'm really into spoken word right now because I really love the cadences that people in spoken word use. So I've been trying to incorporate that in my music too. But yeah, I mean, rhyming words and like telling stories like that translates through all writing, creative
Mm.
writing. So
So, like, and then when you were writing, did you start recording right away, or how did that happen?
um no, I didn't start recording. What I would used to when I first started writing, what I would used to do and love doing was um making album covers on PowerPoint and making like
Mm.
track lists on PowerPoint. Like I would make PowerPoint presentations of like my track list, my cover art. Like I just loved like the whole art of the process when it came to like being a rapper and creating an album.
Yeah.
Um so like that was like what when I was in grade 5, so that was years ago. And what we had were Dell computers in the classroom, And yeah, that I would, always fight to get on the computer just so I could, make another track list that was sitting in my head, or like, create what my rap album cover would look like. Yeah, so I was just super into that. And then in grade 7 I started recording with a friend just on his computer. Um I was just so fascinated that like his laptop had like a microphone and you could record on Fruity Loops. Like I was so fascinated by that. Um, and then in like I think it was grade 9, we had these tape recorders in our classroom for a project. I stole one of those and then like recorded. Like I would practice recording myself on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And where would you get the beats from?
Oh, that was like during the mixtape era, so we were taking everybody else's beats. Yeah, there was no such thing as rapping on your own beat.
What are some of the beats you remember and you enjoyed rapping on?
Uh, Grinding, of course, that's a classic. What happened to that boy? Any Clips beat, because they had Mr. Me Too as well. A bunch of Lil Wayne beats, 50 Cent. Like My Style was one of my popular beats that I'll rap on. Ludacris had some beats that I really liked. For some reason, I liked The Potion, which I don't like that beat now. And
Why?
then there,
What
and
changed?
that, and then there was like Number One Spot. I really like that beat. I'm not sure if I like that beat as much anymore, but like those beats were just super. Those beats were super cool to me.
Number one. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the one from the film. Austin
Yes, Austin
Powers.
Powers. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I used to love that song. I used to love Ludacris, man. I was obsessed with Ludacris. He had a hard fall as far as like rap goes because
Okay, so
I mean he was doing other things. So like
right.
I'm
But
like
there's a song of his that I don't know if it's in his last album or whatever. It's called. Oh man, like the Beast. Is it the Beast? I can't remember, but anyway, while we're talking, I'll try to find it. But oh man, yeah, it's great. But like, when did you Beast Mode? Yeah, do you know Beast Mode?
I haven't listened to Ludacris since like
You should you
since way
should you
back.
should you should you should listen to that one. It's really dope. And then what time did you start? Okay, you're tired of using people's beats and you're gonna be singing on beats you found
Uh-huh.
somewhere.
When was that? Probably really when I had access to a producer. So I met Jordan Metro, what, like maybe 7 or 8 years ago. And that's when I started to like really hop on other beats. That's also close to when the mixtape era died down anyways. So, everyone was translating to like ownership and like, the importance of that and having your own records and whatnot.
Hmm.
So yeah, when I had access to a producer, it was a lot easier to be like, okay, I can get beats.
So and then did anything change about your writing that time?
Oh man, my writing changed tremendously. So when I first started writing, you're trying to write like the people you look up to.
Hmm.
So there was similarities with like Lil Wayne in my lyrics and my voice. There was similarities with 50 Cent. Um yeah, just and the things I would write about, like it. I always say like us '90s baby, we grew up in a weird time where it was where we seeing the super album era, but we're also seeing the super single era. So see, being submerged in both of those worlds really affected my writing and writing style and like the changes that came. One thing I realized about myself is I don't like busy beats. I like very basic, I like synths. I like, find one or two samples, um, uh, a drum pattern, and I'm good most times. As long as the melody and the synth are very, very distinct,
Hmm.
I'm usually good after that. I really don't need difficult, beats. I actually hate that because for me, writing has always been the most important part. when I first started writing, I was writing without a beat. So it was like this was what the song was what I was writing. So I never want to get drowned out. That's actually my issue with performing with a band. A lot of people are like, Maje, you'll sound good with a band. And most performances I've had with a band, I felt like I was being drowned out and screaming in the microphone. And that one thing for me is just like the lyrics are so important to me. I mean, I'm putting my life into them. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not necessarily making the beat. You know, that's coming from the producer's heart. But the lyrics, I need to be heard. So I kind of need my vocals over the beat. Like, you know, like for real.
So what if it was just like a drum and a guitar, or like a drum
Bro,
and
I love doing that.
yeah.
I like that is my comfort zone. I've done multiple performances. I actually have a single that's 90% guitar. Uh yeah, I really like so instead of a band when I'm doing performances, I would just like me and a piano player, me and a guitar player, and I'd rock that. I'd be like, yeah, this is my pocket. I could exist here. Yeah. But my
So
writing style really has been I went from punchline to like kind of like talking about my life now, incorporating my life. So that's what the punchline is. That's what the great lyrics are. Is me, painting perfect pictures of my life. Yeah, yeah.
yo, what is the? I remember, you know. Anyway, no, I'll come back to that. But like your writing, doing on beats with Jordan Metro, was he like? Did you work with other producers at this point, or was it just him?
I started out um really working with him, but I like I write too slow and he makes beats at his own pace, so we're never on the same, like, you know what I mean, the same tempo as far as like creativity. So I'm constantly on like BeatStars and YouTube looking for new producers and new beats, just to keep it going.
Mm.
Yeah, keep my options open for real.
Right, right. Oh yeah, I remember what I wanted to say. Another, I don't know. So like DJ Premier, his beats sounds like kind of the things you like
Uh-huh.
one or two samples, simple, maybe strings, and that's it. It's like pretty much ready to go. I love his
Hmm.
voice, and he's also so repetitive. So when you're now working on your lyrics and stuff and your writing, what are some of the things you like writing about?
Uh Yeah, that's another thing that changed too. So when I first started writing, I could write without a beat. Now I make the point to not write without the beat because I want my vocals to hug the beat. And I want the vocals to bring out an emotion in me. That way, we're in sync and I'm not making two versions of, the same song because like this is it. Like me and the beat, like we're married at this point. So that's super important for me. So when I'm writing, sometimes I'll have an idea, sometimes I'll have song titles or whatnot in my head. But for the most part, finding beats, freestyling to them, finding a pocket. And once I find a melody, I'm like, oh yeah, the song's written. The song's done. The song will literally write itself because I've been writing for so long. Like I've been doing the hard part for so long. So now I approach songs with finding a melody. Um, I sometimes I record it if I need to find the tone, but most times I don't need to record it. I always say if I don't forget, like if I like it, I won't forget it. So
Oh.
I never forget the melodies to songs that I want to keep. And so then yeah, so the melody is more important, and then I put it away. I never ever push myself to like write this song right like today. I'm like, it'll come to me when it comes to me. That way I'm not like writing it over and over and scratching things out. Anything I put on paper or in my notes is the final copy. I never ever put like practice lines in there or anything.
Oh wow.
Always, yeah.
So when you have the melody and everything is all good, when you're like, okay, it's time to write, do you just sit down write the entire song, three verses, or do you write it in bits and pieces?
Usually bits and pieces. Like I said, I never ever get myself overthinking or stressed out about the song. I'm always just like, it'll come to me, you
Mm.
know. And then I'll get a feeling. I usually get goosebumps when Well, I always get goosebumps when a song is finished, and that's just how I know. I'm like, okay, this is it. Yeah.
I guess that was gonna be my question, but you kind of answered it. I was gonna be like, how do you now know the song is finished?
Yeah, yeah. No, I always get goosebumps when a song is finished.
Well,
Yeah,
that's a great indication. So,
yeah.
and then you're writing all these songs, working with these producers and stuff. Did you ever like do features with people and stuff?
Um, I have a few features out there, not as much as I should probably have, or as much as I would like. That was a big thing in my career too. Was like, in the beginning, it was like I could do everything. Like, I want to do the hook, I want to write, because it almost had like a trust issue, like where I was like, I know I could write this song the way I want it to be written. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at it the wrong way, and then I got invited to Gordy Sampson's songwriting camp, and then like they really just opened my eyes to like this is just one painting in like the thousands of paintings you're gonna write in your life. Like when it came to songs, so it was like don't worry about sharing the wealth on a record. Don't like don't get too caught up in the fact that who wrote what. And just like this is like they said, this is one like painting in like the thousand songs that you're gonna write in your life. So that's the approach that I'm taking now. It's like, and it takes the pressure off you too. So when people ask to collab with me, or when I come up with an idea to collab with someone else,
Mm-hmm.
it's always like I'm like, send me a finished product so I can ride your wave. Like I don't want to think about it too much. So like bring what you want to bring to the record, send it to me just so I can ride your wave, because that like it takes pressure off me as far as like Maje's like catalog.
Mm, mm.
Yeah, yeah.
So you keep kind of leading me to where I want to go. I want to talk about the songwriting camp. How did you get the opportunity? How was that experience?
Oh man. So it's invite only. So I applied, and I think I applied the first year and didn't get in, and then I applied again and got in. Um, but yeah, it just like like I said, it really opened my eyes to like the songwriting process, and like there was hits coming out of there. Like it was what 5 or 6 days long, and we were writing. We were coming out of the week with 40 records, like as
Gosh,
like
darn.
a combination,
Yeah.
of all of us, and they were like radio ready, man. We were coming up with some really good records. I went there 2 years in a row, yeah. So yeah, we were going in there, coming out with like album ready records. Like, oh my goodness, this idea was so amazing. So like it opened my eyes to like the possibility of letting people in, other creatives that are just as good or even better at writing songs than I am. So that was super, and it was on a resort, so like we was living our best life, man. I didn't touch my debit card all week. Like it's like like it was definitely a vibe. I will say, being in Nova Scotia and being where it is, like it's in Cape Breton, it takes place in Cape Breton.
Mm,
The lack of black artists that were there was I mean it was a hurdle that I had to get over.
mhm.
Like it was something that I had to like mentally deal with. But yeah, I have nothing but good things to say about that camp. That camp was amazing. It helped me as a songwriter. Like I said, I lived my best life. Met some really good people. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you mentioned the thing about, were you the only black artist there, would you say?
Uh, the first year, yeah, and then the second year, I think it was me, Rainey, and Zamani. So I
Okay.
mean, I was there with some heavyweights, so I was in good company for sure.
Right.
But
So,
there was no other black males there.
that's the thing I was going to go
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
Like, did the genre of music matter? Like, what were the other artists' genre of music? And like, you do hip hop, was that an issue when it came to writing songs?
Bro, we all know what's the most popular genre in the world. So So most of the artists wanna, they want to collab with me,
Right,
because
right, right,
they don't usually do that, and
right,
they're on the inside, they're on the outside looking in, like, oh man, let's do that kind of record, like,
right, right, right.
So yeah, but it also helped me spread my wings as an artist too, because I'm writing raps every day, you know what I mean, and not necessarily in other genres, but
Mm.
I was super impressed with myself. Like, I challenged myself to, to like to fit in, but to also stand out, if that makes sense. So
Mm-hmm.
like bring my creativity and my voice to other genres. Like in a smooth manner, like in a manner that, like, made sense. So like my voice and my flows that I was coming up with that week on those records, I was super proud of myself, because I made that challenge to myself before I went there, and I was like, yo, I'm gonna spice up these guys' records, not the other way around. Like, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Right. So another thing I wanted to touch about is like Melissa McMaster from 902 Hip Hop. How did
Mm-hmm.
you guys meet up, and like how did, because like I think one of the highlights was you going to Atlanta for a week. So how did you get on 902 Hip Hop, and how did it lead to you getting to Atlanta to do what you had to do?
um, so I met Melissa. Honestly, like, me and Melissa met. I would say we were both in like the rookie season of our careers. So I mean, that's the best time to meet people that you're gonna need in your career and in your life. So we met each other when we both had no idea what was going on. I was just like, I wasn't new to rapping, but I was new to the industry and the possibilities of where I could go. And
Mm-hmm.
that was um, a shout out to Centerline Studios, Sobez Benjamin, and then also Youth Art Connection, which helped me like see that as a rapper, there's so much more that goes into it, right? So the combination of those people in my life hooked me up with meeting Melissa in at a conference that we went to. I think it was Antigonish first, and then we seen each other again at another conference in Cape Breton, and yeah, so that was just someone that believed in me, like in the beginning, like from the jump, like when we first met each other, it was like, yo, you know what I mean? You got it. Uh, Fast forward to like almost what, almost 10 years. No, I would say 9 or 8 years. And yeah, we're still working together. Um, it's different because a lot of times a manager can only have like one or two artists, but like she manages a few others. So like I don't know how many it is right now, but like at one point it was like, 7 or 8 of us that were going to Melissa for like, management help. So it's almost like it's different because everyone can go out, do their thing, and there's no like constant pressure. Like, nobody
Oh,
down your throat being like, what do you got for me? What do you got for me? She's just there when you need her, kind of thing. So, I mean, that really helps for me because that's just how I work.
mm,
I never want to feel pressured, or also when I feel pressured, I come through. Um, but I always say I don't want to feel pressured. And then when I am pressured, it's like, like good things happen. But like I said, there's no constant, like, like, and it's not necessarily negative, but
mm,
like you can work at your own pace easily, I
yeah,
would say, because like she's just there when you need her. And Atlanta, like, it was so funny, I never heard from her for like months, and I was trying to get a hold of her at the time, but like she was super busy, like doing whatever she's doing, because this is a woman that's like moving mountains, bro. Like, she's not playing no like little games. Like, she's playing like chess in real life. So like um and I understand that, I get it, like she has
right.
like a bigger vision for herself and for all of us as artists. So um haven't heard from her for months. She comes to me and like she's like, "Yo, I have something to tell you." Da da da. And I'm like, "Okay, what is it?" She's like, "Okay, I'm gonna send you to Atlanta for a month, in the summer. So, you know, like, I was like, man, I was low key mad at you, like, haven't heard from you in so long. And then you coming to me with this. So I was like, all's forgiven. Like, what do I have to do? Um, and honestly, prior to Atlanta, like, that year and a half before Atlanta, I wasn't writing anything meaningful. I was having the hardest time as an artist. I wasn't writing anything that I liked or wanted to keep. I was in a point. I was in a place of trying to figure out who I was as an artist too. Like, I did that project in 2017, and I was like, I only did that project to prove that I could do it, to prove that I could do what your favorite rapper does better than your favorite rapper. Like, that's literally why I made that project. But I was like, there's only one or two songs on there right now that I'd perform and be like, yeah, that's still Maje. So that what I was trying to figure out was like, what was my sound going forward? So like a year and a half before then, I wasn't writing anything meaningful, you know. Also wasn't pressuring myself. I was like, it'll come when it comes. You know, I'm listening to beats, you know, I'm doing the process, but nothing was like really coming from it that I wanted to keep. Yeah. And then I go to Atlanta, I get off the plane, I go straight to the studio. I don't even drop off any of my stuff. I went straight to the studio because Jordan Crocher was there and KO was already there recording. So I was like, yo, I'm just going to come to the studio, check in, you know, brought my suitcase, whatnot. And KO had this song that he was finishing up, and there was this outro part. And I was like, man, that outro sounds crazy. So I started freestyling, and boom, bro, right off the plane, like 40 minutes after getting off the plane, I wrote like for the first time in a long time, and I loved it. So yeah, that's KO's song Left on Red. We did that in Atlanta. Wicked song. His writing is so like unbelievable and also so natural and so easy. Like to collab with KO it was just like, it was a match made in heaven. It was like it made sense for me because I was like, I know how serious he is about the art, but also our writing styles are completely opposite. See, he'll write 100 songs a month, and I'll write like one every 6 months. But like the combination of us, it was a match made in heaven. That was also one of the things too, because we were being paired up. Like the artist that she was managing, we were being paired up to go to Atlanta together, and I was like, I'm only going with KO. I was like that just made sense. I was like, I'm only gonna go with KO. I know, because I think that was bigger than music too, because I knew he was used to living out of a suitcase. So I was like, I'm not used to being, you know, away from home. So I want to go with someone that's used to that, you know, that combination, that mix. You know, I'd be in Atlanta and I'd feel comfortable. I'd feel good. And it took no time for me to feel comfortable. I mean, it's Atlanta. It's the most hospital place in the world. Like, yeah, like Southern hospitality. I mean, it's a real thing. So like, I went there and I didn't want to leave, bro. Like, it was like everyone treats you like you belong there.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah, Atlanta is a beautiful place.
And then,
I won't be back there anytime soon, but yeah, it's beautiful. I can't wait to get back there.
Nice. And then, you know, you kind of build on that. And I remember on the Artist in Resident happened not shortly after,
yes.
Right? Do you feel like whatever happened in Atlanta led kind of, you know, to that residency?
1,000%. You want to know why? Because when we were on the last day when we were leaving, Melissa said to me, she said, if you want to come back here, you got to find some money. Because the first time, you know, she found money to pay for it. And she was like, if you want to come back here, like, prove it kind of thing. You need to find some money. Bro, as soon as I found out about the 20K competition, I was like, yo, I'm entering this and I'm winning. Bro, I made plans with the money like months before I won.
Gosh.
I was spoken into existence. I knew I was gonna win. I was like, there's nothing that's gonna stop me. But like I said, it was like the pressure thing. Under pressure, I really, really trust myself. I'm like, if there's money on the line or if there's like a prize on the line, I really trust that Maje is gonna come through.
And then, like, so you apply, and then you
Yeah.
get called into the final. I think it was final four. How was the
Final
preparation?
five, yeah, final
Five,
five.
five. How was
Yeah,
the
yeah.
preparation for that?
Oh man, I was a wreck. Like in my mind, I'm like I won, but then in my mind, I'm also like I could get robbed. Cause personally, I felt like I was like the artist in there with the highest ceiling. Like that was how I felt. I was like, this guy, because I studied every single guy I was up against, every single artist I was up against. The final five, all four of them, I went back and I looked at their Instagrams, I looked at their careers, I looked at what I knew about them already, and I was like, you know what? I really think I belong here. Like I feel like my ceiling is extremely high, and I was determined to prove myself. I was like, I'm gonna show you. It's funny because Quake was in it like 2 years ago, and it's not necessarily an award. Well, I shouldn't say necessarily. It's not an award that usually goes to rappers, And I knew that going in, and I was like, like it wasn't really an award that goes to rappers, being based in Nova Scotia, casino, you know, just the Nova Scotia vibe. And I knew that the history, Quake did an amazing job. Like literally unbelievable. Had people in tears, at the performance and still didn't come out with it. And I was like, so that stuck in my mind. I was like, yo, this is how, that's just like the rapper curse in the rest of the world, which is super false, because I shouldn't say the rest of the world. I should just say Nova Scotia. For some reason, hip hop is very low in Nova Scotia, but hip hop is by far the biggest genre in the world. The rest of the world knows what's up. It's just Nova Scotia that doesn't. That's what it feels like, So I'm like, how can I impress these people that don't know nothing about my genre? So I was like, this is months before I'm preparing. I'm thinking about it every single day, my friend. Like every single day I'm thinking about it, stressing about it, confident about it, stressing about it, confident about it. But I was like, you know what? I can't come in here. I was like, what's my superpower as a rapper, as an artist? And I was like, bro, it's the fact that I can exist in other genres and I can exist on beats that don't necessarily sound, very hip hoppy. So I was like, I'm gonna bring that to the table. I called up my friend that played guitar. I was like, yo, we're gonna do our song together, because they're gonna be like a rapper with an acoustic version of a song. That's a weapon I can use. Then I called up my other friend. I was like, yo, I need you to play piano for this record because it sounds so beautiful when it's played over piano. And I was like, I'm gonna have a full set of like me rapping over acoustic, me rapping over piano, and then me rapping over like hip hop beats and like with the chorus, playing, microphone to the crowd kind of thing. I was like, I'm gonna add all these elements into my performance because I can't leave any stone unturned. I'm trying to win this.
Right,
20K's on the line, and I'm super competitive too. That's the other thing. So I feel like rap is like the place for me, because even outside of rap, I'm super competitive, man. I don't even want to lose at tic-tac-toe. Like I'm very, very, very competitive. So that's how I went into it. Yeah. I went into it literally with like a Mamba mentality. I was like, I need to build up, my performance, because the performance was the biggest part of the criteria to win. Yeah. I was like, I need to build this up so that it makes it very hard if I was to get robbed, for me to get robbed. I'm going to make it very hard for them to pick a white artist. I'm going to make it very hard for them to pick, anyone else that's not doing rap, And that's what I did. Like I said, super nervous up until I got on the stage. And when I got on the stage, all the jitters went away. And I knew this is the same thing that happened years ago. I knew I won about halfway through my performance, just based off of how it was going and how I felt inside. It's really unexplainable, but like 10 years ago, or 9 or 10 years ago, I won another competition. It was a Viola Desmond songwriter competition, and that was $10,000. And I went in there as an underdog, but like halfway through the performance, my jitters were gone, and I felt like I was, I was the winner halfway through my performance, and that just makes the second half of the performance so much easier. Yeah, but like, yeah, I went into those super competitive, and I was very confident that I would come out on top.
So
Yeah.
how was the residency itself?
Well, basically, it was non-existent. It really got really messed up due to COVID, um, and everything. So that's unfortunate. Uh, there's nothing really we could do about it. Like,
Yeah.
I would have loved to experience, like, the connection with the casino and Music Nova Scotia and how that would work in growth as an artist. I grew as an artist in other ways. And I'm still getting paid, like, you know what I mean? So like, yeah, so
Yeah.
it really was non-existent, but
Damn COVID. Damn COVID.
definitely, yeah.
So, I'm gonna let you go with this one now. What are some things you're currently working on, and when it happens and life opens up and stuff, what are you gonna be
Yeah.
doing then?
Um, okay, so you're basically one of the first people, like, in the media world that's hearing about this, but essentially I'm leaning towards building a media company in some sorts.
Nice.
I don't know. My whole life I've been obsessed with what rappers are doing outside of rap. I've always loved that. That's part of the grading process for me. When I think about goats, I think about obviously your catalog, but I also think about what you're doing outside of music. So people I really look up to are Nipsey, obviously. The way Nipsey, like, literally bought back the block, I can't say enough about how beautiful that is. Providing jobs for your friends and your families and for, like, people in your community like that, it's unheard of in, like, such a when you're involved in such a street manner. Very smart man. Used the streets to his advantage. Just like a beautiful story, like, through and through. The things that he would build outside of hip hop were not necessarily always hip hop, related, which was super beautiful. So I think about, like, who is Maje as a whole, and, like, the pandemic actually had me thinking about that, but I was headed in that direction anyways. Music will always be the root of, like, the Maje brand, but I want many things to come from it. So I've been thinking about building almost like a songwriting and storytelling curriculum that it can exist in schools.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I've been doing school tours for the past 5 years. I started out with a group of friends, and I've been doing it the past 4 years by myself. So that's very important to me to talk to young people. Like, man, it's so crazy. Like, years ago, I got invited to Career Day as a rapper, and I was like, this is mind-boggling this is mind-blowing to me, because this never would have happened when I was a kid.
Right.
I was literally at that school on Career Day telling them that, you know what I mean? Like, they didn't have to be a doctor or a lawyer or this or that. Like, it was like, I'm doing this, guys. It's funny because the school that I went to for that, I still talk to 4 of those kids today. We're still, like, in communication. Like, they come to Hub all the time. I just think that was so beautiful that, like, that years ago I met these 4 kids that were just, like, super, like, super into me, obviously, and I'm super into them, like, like, just as young people that were curious, and wanted to learn. And then, like, years later we connect, and, like, they're young adults and pursuing their arts, which is beautiful. I'm glad that I could be a part of that, like, you know what I mean, to watch them grow. But yeah, so, like, building a media company, like I said, I've always been obsessed with, like, album rollouts and what rappers are doing outside of music. So I always felt like in Nova Scotia, why don't we have our own, like, black media outlets? You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not talking like you have a podcast and or you have this thing, I'm talking like things that are funded, you know what I mean, are actually influencing the local culture, whatnot. Like, that's what I see. If I don't build, that's what I see me, like, being super involved in. That's what I really want to see. People always say you have to move away to make it, you know, like that's cap. Um, and even if it's not cap, I'm like, well, let's change that. You know what I mean? And Nova Scotia is such a like, you know, racist, like backwards province in a lot of ways when it comes to culture. And like, bro, that's just a hurdle. That's just a challenge that I would rather take on than to ignore. So Maje, like, I started a podcast myself, actually, audio and visual. Um, that's due to come out in the summer.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
yeah, I accompany that with like I have 8 singles right now.
Okay, you've been
Um,
busy, dude.
yeah, in the process of shooting. I want to shoot videos for like as many of those as possible, just because you know I want to have that content. There's this thing I do on Instagram right now, just like 1 minute remixes. Like I want to do more series of that.
Hmm.
Like I said, the school tour that's called Gold Mine, which is like that's what I want it to be. I want it to be like something that can exist in these schools.
Mm.
Not just I don't want to just get called on like, you know, in February. I'm like I want to be going to these schools with this, you know, this curriculum that I built when it came like talking about songwriting, talking about storytelling, talking about the importance of journaling,
Hmm.
your
Hmm. Hmm.
emotions and your feelings. Yeah, so that's something I'm really working on. I started a clothing line like, and I can't even say like clothing line, it was more like merch way back when I was super young, you know, super like, you know, just like just thinking, oh, let's start this new thing, da da da. You know, I shut that down. People still ask for that for those hoodies and those crew necks, but I was like, you know what, this isn't how I want it presented to the world, so I shut it down. And
Hmm.
I was like, you know what, when I'm ready, we're gonna bring it back up. um so yeah, there's that. I I did this weird thing when I first started like making music where, or when I first started thinking like I'm bigger than just music, where I had these, I wanted to start things that had the initials GM. So 3 things that I start all have the initials GM. Don't ask me why. I just think that's super cool and
Okay.
cohesive. I just thought that was cool and cohesive. I was like, this is super cool because I could actually brand these things together somehow. You know what I mean? And branch them together. So there's Gold Mine, which is like I said, like the school tour stuff and like the workshops, the songwriting workshops. Then there's Give Me a Minute, which is like the 1 minute remixes, and then there's Gentleman Mafia, which is like clothing. So I really want to get into like not only building my brand as far as like having things connected to my name. I want to build like things that can outlive me. So it's
Hmm.
basically I'm really not into one-offs. I remember when I first started doing performances at the universities, they'd reach out to me and they'd be like, "You want to perform this Thursday or you know next month at you know at our bar?" And you know, I said to them, I was like, "Yo, instead of me doing one show, why don't I perform once a month for the whole year?" And then like that set it off. Like I'm into doing like you know I'm into building like relationships with these people that want to build relationships with me. You
Right.
know, so you know I like that's just always been super important to me. One-offs really, they really drive me nuts. That's why I'm super obsessed with like album rollouts, even though albums aren't so popular. I
Mm.
really like the process of like building up to something, you know what I mean, and then like afterwards, after it's out there, how does it, you know, how does it keep reoccurring and
Yeah.
existing? So that's really where my mind is. Getting more black media here. um I feel like I won't be spearheading it, but I'm definitely in for having like the conversation. Like, how do we get it going? You
Mm.
know, because even like Kaya, like you, Kaya, like Kaya Sparks, I'm like, these are people that need to be, you know, submerged in like in their fields because they're super good at it. Kiki Beats, I'm like, y'all so good with the interviewing and like you're also good at your art and behind the camera and working with what y'all are submerged in. And I'm like, this black news is the biggest news in the world. Like that, like Nova Scotia, you are no different. Like we have the biggest all black community in Canada. Like as much as they try to drown us out, like black culture is here, like it's here to stay, and
Right.
it's the most influential, like the most powerful. So I'm just super into like artists and like people in the community building things that can outlive them and like exist, forever. So I really see, I don't know how it will look right now, obviously, but I really see like even the word Maje sounds like a good like name for a media company. So I've been thinking about that heavy. Don't know, like I said, don't know exactly what it would look like, but I really, really think that there's power in like black music, black stories, black media. So, and that needs to get popping off here.
Wow. Maje, man.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna just say, like, in whatever way I can contribute, I'm down,
Yeah.
because like it's really important we do that and we tell our own stories, our own selves. So I'm
Yes.
really
Yes.
down.
Yes.
I'm down for that. Thanks for coming to the sanctuary and
Hey, I
sharing all this
appreciate
much,
it.
and I can't wait to listen to those albums and your show in the summer.
Yeah. 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 Peace out. Take
Peace.
care.